Hey, thanks for joining us online today. We believe that Jesus wants to do so much through you and for you, and we'd love to hear about how he's working in your life. Please take a second to email your story to stories@rise-church.com. We hope this message leaves you feeling uplifted and encouraged. Enjoy.
Hey, I'm pumped to be continuing our series that we kicked off last week. Every February at our church, we do a relationship series. This year, we're calling it For Better or Worse. And I'm encouraged that you're all back because all I did last week for about 25 minutes was yell at you and tell you how selfish you are. And you're like, I'm coming back so you can yell at me some more. Awesome. Well, I'm not going to yell at you today. I'm just going to encourage you. But last week, we just kind of rallied around this idea that we can all be selfish in our relationships, whether it's a friendship, a dating relationship, a co-worker relationship, parents and kids, a family dynamic, or even a marriage. That we can all be selfish, and I think that we could all be honest, and I challenged you in this, and I hope that you had some good conversations with this, and if you weren't here last week, go to our website, go to our app, get caught up. But I challenged you in this to say to your spouse or to the person in your life, hey, listen, I know we got some stuff going on, but I need you to know it's not you, it's me. I think I'm the problem. I think I've had some selfishness. I think there's been some areas in my lives because let's be honest, I believe this with all of my heart. If one of you will go first, I think the other person will follow. And maybe they won't, but you can't control them. You can only control you. And we came around this big idea that we don't want self-centered relationships. We want Christ-centered relationships. We want Jesus to be the center of every relationship in our lives. And so that was last week. Today we're going to talk about how much relationships take work. Before we do that, I want to bring your attention to these little white pieces of paper that should have been on the seat where you're sitting right now. This is just an opportunity for you to write in any question that you may have about your relationships, anything that you're going through right now. It's completely anonymous. You can write the question, fold it in half, and then just leave it in the seat that you're sitting in. My wife and I are going to be teaching together on week 4 in 2 weeks on this series, and we're just going to be answering the questions that you write in. And so if you really have something that you've been, man, we're trying to work through this and we don't really know what to do and we're trying to do the compromise thing, but it's not really working out, man, let us know. We're going to do the best thing that we can do and to answer them in a biblical manner. So write these things down. But today, we're going to talk about how relationships take work. Before we jump in, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We did this last week. We talked about relationships goals. If you Google #relationship goals, you'll see some pictures that pop up. And we're calling this series For Better or Worse. So I got 2 for better relationship goals and 2 for worse. So here's the for better right here. This is the first one. Come on, look at this couple. They're in Paris. Come on, somebody. He's holding her shoes for her. That is so sweet. How many of y'all know this picture got photoshopped? They ain't even in Paris, man. They're in their backyard. And that yeah. How many of y'all are looking like, that doesn't look appealing at all? I do not want to walk those stairs. Anybody know? How many of y'all are like, this would be something you would want to do one day? All right, come on. That's not bad, not bad. I like this next one. This is for better right here. Come on. These two have been together since middle school. Come on, somebody. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I saw one online that said, this dude's been with this bald-headed lady since middle school. That's hilarious. I don't care who you are. All right, this one's for worse right here. Couple shot at fireflies, thought they were aliens. So yeah, they look like they could probably shoot a couple fireflies. And so if you see some fireflies, they're not aliens. Aliens aren't real that we know of. All right, and then this next one, this one's so funny. Relationship goals, baby. Come on, laugh when you see it. Some of y'all, it'll take you a little bit longer. And you got it. You just got it. Very good. Look at how many of y'all are like, I am definitely getting that for Valentine's Day. That is on the list. Yeah. Speaking of Valentine's Day, men, lean in. Valentine's Day is this week. Again, it's the 14th of February every year. Somehow we forget, right? And if she said to you, oh, you don't have to get me anything this year. She lying. She's setting you up. She lying. All right, you better get her something. That's all I'm going to say. All right, last week, we watched the Super Bowl. Anybody watch the Super Bowl? Kansas City Chiefs came out on top. Next year, it will be them Duval boys, Jacksonville Jaguars, all the way Super Bowl, baby. All right, you're not clapping because you don't believe it, but it's your lack of faith that's keeping us from the Super Bowl. You better step it up. Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and they're presented, at the end of the game with the Lombardi Trophy. named after the famous coach of the Green Bay Packers, Vince Lombardi, and won the first Super Bowl and everything. And Vince Lombardi was an incredible coach. He was famous for many things, but one of the things he was famous for was that at the start of every year, the very first practice of the year, he would walk into the locker room or on the field, he would hold a football in the air, and he would say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." Which is so ridiculous because he's talking to guys that have played football their entire lives. But what was he doing? He was just reminding them of something that they already knew. Rush Church, can I remind you of something that you probably already know? Relationships take work. They take a whole lot of work. Now I want to pause for just a moment and speak to anybody in the house today that's gone through a divorce. Maybe it was a while back, maybe it was recently, maybe you're walking through it right now. And let me just say it like this. Divorces happen for multiple reasons. Both parties are affected, both people didn't, treat each other right or whatever, but a lot of times we've seen this in our own church, that it happens because one person was not willing to put in the work. One person said, "I'm out." One person decided, "The grass looks a little greener over there. I'm going to leave you for them." And I just need you to hear my heart as your pastor. I'm so sorry. If that's you, I am so sorry. You did not deserve that. Nobody does. And when you go through something like that, the tendency and the mindset can be, "I'm hurting so much, God, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to run off in this direction." And I just need you to hear me. In those moments, I know it's cliche. Please hear my heart. Please run to God. Because if you run away from God, you're running from the only one that can bring healing to your heart. And God's inviting you in, saying, "Come on. I'm sorry for what you went through, but I am the one that can heal you, and I'm the one that can set you up so that you continue to live out everything that I have for your future, because this isn't going to define you." Relationships take work. They take commitment. You got to bring energy and effort every single day. I heard a joke about a woman that said that her relationship with her husband was like a walk in the park, to which the husband responded, "Yeah, Jurassic Park." Because we know this in different relationships that your friendships take work, your parent, your family dynamic relationships take work, your marriages take work. Come on, in a marriage, you got the honeymoon phase where everything's just wonderful and they can do no wrong. And for different people, honeymoon phase lasts for a day. Some people it lasts for a week. Some people might even last for a year. Just everything's wonderful. And then you go from the honeymoon phase to what I call the reality phase of, wow, they're wrong all the time. They're not perfect. Okay, I get that. And then you move into the commitment phase, which is for better or worse. And I'm just telling you, if you want a healthy, godly marriage, if you want healthy, godly relationships, then God has to be the center of it. And you have to let God fill you up. You got to let the love of God come into your life so that you can give it away. And you've got to be committed. You got to be in it for the long haul, and God's the only one that can do that work in your life. In Genesis chapter 29, we're going to read about a beautiful story of love and commitment. In Genesis 29, we're introduced to a guy named Jacob. And Jacob shows up on the scene one day, and there's these women that are hanging around this well. They're there to get water. And the well, they covered up with this big stone rock, and because they didn't want other stuff to get in it, keep the water clean. And said the women were waiting there for some men to come along to move the rock off of the well so they could get the water. Jacob shows up on the scene, and he sees this one girl there named Rachel, and he's like, dang, she's hot. And he's like, I'm going to impress her because men do stupid stuff around pretty girls. And he's like, I'm going to move this rock all by myself. So he's like this, ah! And he moves it off, man. And he's like, what's up? That's how I got my wife's attention. I was like, hey, girl. How you doing? I didn't have any muscles. I didn't even know what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? I had long hair, though, so I just whipped it back and forth. And Jacob falls in love with this girl immediately. The Bible says he starts crying when he sees her. Come on, that's real. I didn't do that, but we'll see. Genesis 29, verse 16, we're going to read about Rachel's family. It says, now Laban, her dad, had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes. Now, you can interpret that any way you want, okay? I like to think that the interpretation is a little bit like she had crazy eyes. Anybody ever known somebody with crazy eyes? You just look at them, you're like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? That's Leah. Hey. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Bible says. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I will work for you for 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel. Skip to verse 20. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Everybody say, aw. Skip down to verses 22 through 23. So he works the 7 years. They throw a big party because they're going to get married. And it says this, so Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. He pulled the old switcheroo. So apparently this party was cranking, and Jacob had a little too much to drink because he didn't even know what was going on. And Laban's like, oh, I'm going to get Leah because she's the older one and she needs to get married first, and so I'm going to switch it up. And you got to read the Bible with some little bit of comedy because this is one of the funniest verses in the entire Bible. Verse 25, it says this, when morning came, there was Leah. Hey, big boy. Hey, Jacob. All crazy eyes. And then it goes on to say that Jacob said this, what is this? What did you do to me, Laban? What happened? Come on, how many of y'all have ever had a what is this moment in your marriage or in some type of relationship? Come on, I remember the first time my wife and I got married in September. I remember the first time winter rolled around. She came to bed walking all head to toe looking like an Alaskan lumberjack in flannel, man. I'm like, what is this? Like, I didn't sign up for this. And I snore like a chainsaw, so she's probably thinking, what is this? You remember the first time you woke up to your spouse, like, you know, you had only seen them when you go out on dates, you know, like you say goodnight, and then the next day you see each other, and they got themselves all put together. But you remember the first time you woke up and you look over, they got drool coming out their mouth, their hair's all over the place, their morning breath be stanking up in here, and you're like, what is this? Parents, don't be lying. You know, the first time your kid did something crazy when they got a little bit older, you're like, what is this? What do we have here? This child. Come on, kids. You say that sometimes about your parents. You're like, what is this? What hand did you put me in, God? We all have these moments where we say, what is this? Jacob got tricked, but he was so in love with Rachel that he looked at Laban and said, I'm willing to serve you 7 more years just so she can be my wife. Because that's how in love, that's how committed I am. At the start of this year, I had a challenge for myself that I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to eat healthy. I wanted to exercise. And I can do things by myself, but I like to do it with other people more. And so I challenged our staff here at our church. I said, hey, for 21 days, we're going to see who can eat healthy and get in shape, and we're going to do a weight loss challenge. And I'm going to put some cash on the table, and we're going to give prizes out to first, second, and third. And so some of our staff participated, some didn't, and it got competitive, man. It got fun for a little bit, and everybody's angry because we're not eating any food, or we're eating food that's not healthy. And it was a little tension in the office, but it was fun. And I can't. Your pastor came in second place. What's up? Okay. One girl, she ate 1 avocado. You know, that was all she ate for 21 days. You know, she cheated. And so, you know, for me, I had to really prep for it. I had to really get ready. And so, man, I did meal prepping, which, you know, just was not enjoyable. And I know a lot of you do that. And honestly, it really did work because, man, I cooked a whole bunch of grilled chicken, and then I just ate it like every day. Every day. Grilled chicken. Every day. Broccoli every day. Green beans every day. Carrots, like I hated it, but I started to see results. 14 pounds I've lost since the beginning of the year. Come on, somebody. Where'd I go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? All right, I'm still right here. I got some more weight I want to lose, and not only was I committed to eating healthy, I was committed to working out and getting in shape, because my wife and I, we're going on 14 years of marriage. I want her to look at me and be like, yeah, that's my man, so I want to be able to do this and actually have muscles to do it, you know what I'm talking about? And so I started working out, and I don't have time to join a gym, and I ain't got money to pay a gym and not go to it. So I just said, I can work out at my house. I can do push-ups. I can do some sit-ups, and I'll do some pull-ups and doing some squats and working out. And so I've been doing that for a while. And the other day I was reading this article that said, if you really want to burn calories, if you really want to work your core, you need to do burpees. Now, I've known what burpees are, but I've never done a single burpee in my life. How many of y'all know what a burpee is? How many of you think you know what a burpee is? You're like, is that when you burp? No, that's just a burp. My son does those really good. And so I was reading this article, and it said for my body weight, that every burpee I do, I burn 1.43 calories. And I thought, man, please, I'm going to do 100 burpees. That'll be, carry the wine. That'll be 143 calories that I can burn like that. That's easy. And so my wife and I put our kids to bed one night, and I said, babe, I'm going to do some burpees. And she was like, whatever. And she was sitting on the couch eating ice cream. And so I started, and if you don't know what a burpee is, and if my form's not perfect, you don't need to be coming here, Pastor, actually, you need to do it. Like, just shut up, okay? You know what I'm saying? So basically, a burpee is, you go down, you push up, you get up, and you jump. And then you do it again. Down, up, boom. Come on, yeah, thank you. I'm only 2 in, okay? I got 98 to go. I got 15 in. And I'm gassed. I'm done. But my wife's watching me, so I ain't going down like that. I'm sucking air. And this is what the rest of them look like. I was committed. I got it at 25 and I was out. She's laughing at me on the couch, and no joke. Like, this is just, God speaks to me in just crazy ways. I literally felt like the Lord was like, this is relationships. This is what it looks like. You start out so strong, and I'm committed, I'm going to do this. And then you get a certain point in, and it's laziness and fatigue, and you get tired, and you settle. Let's talk practically. Let me talk to some spouses in here that have been married for a little while. Date night used to be a priority. Now it's, yeah, maybe, I don't know. You used to leave each other little messages and used to text each other, and you don't do that anymore. One of my favorite things my wife does is she'll just text me throughout the day, like, I miss you. We literally work right beside each other. Her office is right next to mine. I miss you, and I miss you too. And I'll pop in, hey, it's me. You used to do that. You used to leave little notes for each other. I'm just talking practically. You used to love spending time with each other, and now all of a sudden you'd rather just spend time with your friends? I tell people all the time, I don't marry people anymore, but I used to tell people when I was marrying them, like, hey, before you were husband and wife, you were best friends. Husband and wife is just a title. Stay best friends. Like, my wife is my best friend. I would rather spend time with her than anybody else on this planet. Let's talk spiritually. Church used to be a priority for you. Now you just come when it's convenient. Come on, you used to serve together. You used to be in groups together. You were growing together. Worship music used to fill your house. Now the TV fills your house. You used to sit and talk to each other before you went to bed about, man, this is what I read in the Bible, or this is what I read, and this is what I'm learning, or this is what I'm going through. I'm kind of frustrated. Can you pray for me? And now all of a sudden you're just on your phone. Come on, conviction set into my heart when my wife and I sat right next to each other. We put the kids to bed. This was a while ago, a while ago. We're just sitting on the couch for about 40 minutes. Didn't say a single word to each other. Both of us just staring down at our phones. And I thought, well, that's a problem. we settle when we get comfortable. And we stop putting in the work. We stop putting in the effort. We stop letting the love of God fill us up so that we could give it away to our spouse, to the people in our lives. And I'm just telling you, if you don't let the love of God fill you, you're not going to have anything good to give away. You have to love people and put in the work out of the overflow of your heart. And so if Jesus is in you, then you got Jesus to give away. But if Jesus isn't filling you up, you know what you're giving away? You. And that ain't pretty. Help me out, Josh. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, if you've been to a wedding, you probably have heard this read. It's known as the love chapter. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 just talks about what love is and what love isn't. And in the first verse of 1 Corinthians 13, it says this: if I could speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but if I don't have love, I'm just a clanging cymbal. Meaning this: you could spit game with your words, man. You could recite poetry, Shakespeare, whatever you want. Man, you could speak in an angelic tone. But if you ain't got love, you're just... Now that's annoying, isn't it? So annoying. But that's what it sounds like. Let me give you a Peterson household scenario. This doesn't happen all the time. Yes, it does, okay? My wife can come and respond to me one of two ways. Hey, honey, could you give me a hand folding these clothes? Hey, sweetheart, could you help me wash the dishes? Could you help me do this? And when she comes in love, do you know how I respond? Absolutely, babe, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. But every once in a while, only every once in a while, you're really good at this. You're great, you're wonderful, you're awesome, I love you so much. But she's teaching with me next week, so y'all come back and she'll tell you what I do. Every once in a while, she'll say, hey! Well, she doesn't say it like that. She'll say, hey, can't you see what I'm doing around here? Hey, don't you see that I'm doing this? Do you even care? Hey, listen, could use a little help around here. Do you know what I hear in that moment? Because she ain't coming with love. I just hear, and guess what that makes me want to do? Nothing. I don't want to help at all. And men, you can laugh all you want at that, but you do the exact same thing. You nitpick and you don't come with love, and then you wonder why she's like, I'm tired. Hello. Come back next week for more of that. Here we go. Let's move on. I'm just saying. What we need is the love of Jesus to fill us up. Jonathan, come on up, man. When I think about God, when I think about Jesus, the perfect example of love, right? And Jesus was willing to put in the work, right? He was willing to go to the cross. He was willing to give everything that he had to have a relationship with you. He was willing to say, I'll do whatever it takes. And when he looked down at you, listen, this is what he saw. Not your good, not your best. What he saw was your worst. And he still said, I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I think sometimes in our relationships, all we see is the ugly in other people, and so it keeps us from wanting to put the work in. Well, if they're not going to do this, then I'm not. No. We ain't serving like that. We're letting Jesus fill us up so that we can give Jesus away. Amen? Come on, let's pray in this house.
Thanks for watching today. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram. If our church has had an impact on you and you'd like to support what Jesus is doing here, you can do so by going to rise-church.com/give and select the giving option that best suits you. Thanks for watching online and have a great week.